The 8th of August, 9 and 10 are not just days on a calendar, they are thresholds, gates, moments where time stretches and life demands your presence. These are not ordinary days. They carry weight. You can feel it in your chest, in your breath, in your restlessness. The discomfort you feel is not random. It is a message, a signal that something inside you is ready to shift. Most people ignore it. They numb it with distraction. They run from the silence. But you are not most people. This is not the time to scroll past your life. This is the time to stop, to breathe, to listen to what your inner world has been whispering. You are not here to survive these 3 days. You are here to use them, to walk through the fire, not to be burned, but to be refined. Because on the other side of this tension is clarity. And on the other side of avoidance is freedom. The 8th of August, 9 and 10, they are not accidents. They are invitations. The only question is, will you enter on a 5 number? Pressure is not the enemy. You've been taught that pressure means something is wrong, that if you feel overwhelmed, you must escape, that if your heart races, you should distract yourself. But let me tell you something very simple. Pressure is the signal that something inside you is ready to grow. The 8th of August, 2 and 10 are not calm waters. They are fire. And fire does not ask for permission to transform what it touches. You will feel it in your body, in your emotions, in your thoughts. Everything old will try to rise. Not to destroy you, but to be released. Avoidance is the old way. Numbing, scrolling, blaming others, but that never led to peace. That never led to strength. It only delayed the inevitable. The pressure you feel on these days, it is your inner world rearranging itself. It is your nervous system waking up, your energy reorganizing. And yes, it is uncomfortable, but discomfort is not a problem. Discomfort is the doorway. If you feel restless, good, it means your body is no longer willing to carry what does not belong. If you feel emotional, good, it means your soul is tired of pretending. If you feel like quitting, perfect. Because this is the exact moment where most people stop and where transformation begins. You don't break down because you're weak. You break down because you're resisting the change that wants to happen. You keep saying you want peace, clarity, freedom, but those things are not found in comfort. They are found in structure, in breath, in presence, in choosing to stay with what is hard until it reveals the lesson. These 3 days will not make the decision for you, but they will show you what you do when the pressure rises. Do you fall back into patterns? Do you run to distractions, or do you sit still, breathe, and meet yourself where you are? The pressure is not random. It is precise. It shows up exactly where you've been avoiding. In the relationship you won't repair, in the habit you won't release, in the truth you won't speak. The 8th of August, 0 and 10 will press on those exact spots, not to punish, but to purify. If you've been wondering what's holding you back, these days will answer that question. Not with words, with pressure. And when that pressure comes, don't run. Don't heed it. Don't try to escape. Stand in it. Breathe through it. Let it do what it came to do. Because pressure is not punishment. It is preparation. You are not being tested to be broken. You are being shaped to become unbreakable. And the path has always been through the pressure. 5 number, you can change your clothes. You can change your job. You can change your location, your friends, even your name. But there is one thing you can never escape yourself. You carry your thoughts wherever you go. You carry your patterns into every new relationship. You carry your emotions into every silent moment. And that is why the 8th of August, 0 and 10 feel so intense, because these are not days of external change. They are days of internal exposure. You are being shown who you are beneath the mask. Not the version you present to the world. Not the version you post online. But the version that lives in the silence. The version you meet at 2 a.m. when no one is watching. You've been running from discomfort, from grief, from fear, from the old story that says, I'm not enough. But you can only outrun yourself for so long. Eventually, you will be caught, not by punishment, but by the truth. And these days, the 8th of August to 10, are when truth catches up. This is why the silence feels so loud right now. This is why your emotions are unstable, because your inner world is trying to speak to you clearly, directly, and it doesn't use words. It uses tension. It uses frustration. It uses discomfort. Every trigger is a mirror. Every overreaction is a sign. Every restless night is your spirit asking, are you ready to stop pretending? Most people will try to silence it. They'll binge watch. They'll scroll. They'll complain about everything except the one thing that matters themselves. But you are not here for surface living. You are not here to stay asleep. You are here to awaken. And awakening is not always peaceful. It is messy. It is loud inside. It is a collapse of all that is false. But that collapse, that breakdown, is not the end. It is the beginning. When you stop running, you start meeting yourself. You see the patterns clearly. You see the fear without disguise. You see the stories you inherited and the stories you keep repeating. And in that clarity, you are given a choice. Keep running or return to yourself. No more blaming. No more distractions. No more waiting for the right moment. This is the moment, not tomorrow, not next week, now, because what you don't face today will control you tomorrow. And what you avoid now will return later, louder, heavier, harder. So stop, breathe, sit in the discomfort, because that discomfort is where your real self lives. And the self you meet there raw, honest. The whole is the self that will carry you forward. These 3 days are not a punishment. They are an unveiling. And you are not being exposed to be judged. You are being exposed to be free. 5 number, emotion is not the problem. Emotion is not weakness. It is not irrational. It is not something to be fixed. Emotion is a mirror. It reflects what is hidden. It shows you what words cannot explain. It reveals what your mind tries to avoid. On the 8th of August, 2 and 10, the mirror will be clear, crystal clear. And what it reflects may not be comfortable, but it will be true. You will feel anger. not because you are broken, but because something has been violated inside you. A boundary, a truth, a value. You will feel sadness, not because you're weak, but because something within you is ready to let go and you're still holding on. You will feel fear, not because there is danger, but because you're standing at the edge of a new identity. And your old one is afraid to die. Every emotion is a signal, a message from the deeper self. And if you learn to listen, truly listen, you'll find the exact place in you that needs healing. But if you react blindly, if you lash out, shut down, or numb yourself, you shatter the mirror. You miss the message. You prolong the pattern. Most people never look. They spend their lives avoiding the mirror because it's easier to point fingers. It's easier to blame others. It's easier to say, I'm fine, even when the body is tense, the breath is shallow, and the heart is screaming for change. But these 3 days don't allow avoidance. The 8th of August, 0 and 10 amplify your inner world. They bring every unresolved emotion to the surface. They make the unconscious conscious. Why? Because you are ready. Ready to see where your peace is leaking. Ready to see where your wounds are still open. Ready to see where you are living from fear, not truth. Do not shame yourself for what arises. This is not a test of perfection. This is a lesson in presence. When the tears come, be with them. When the anger rises, feel it without acting on it. When the fear shakes you, breathe deeper, not faster. These emotions are not against you. They are allies. They are trying to show you something, and if you're willing to sit in the mirror long enough, without judgment, without distraction, you will see not only what's broken, but what is ready to be rebuilt. Clarity comes not from suppressing emotion, but from understanding it. Wisdom is not born from escape, but from sitting still in the storm and asking, what is this emotion trying to teach me? That is your work, not to avoid, not to conquer, but to understand, because once you understand, you gain the power to choose something new. And when you choose something new, you begin to break the cycle. Emotion is the mirror. And these days are the light, the 8th of August, June, and 10, they will not lie. They will show you everything. The only question is, will you have the courage to look? E5 number. Chaos is not the enemy. It is the teacher that speaks when all other voices go silent. And on the 8th of August, so, and 10, the teacher will arrive. It won't knock politely. It won't whisper. It will arrive as tension, confusion, emotional noise. Everything will feel faster, louder, heavier. But that is the point. You are not being punished. You are being prepared, because real growth doesn't happen in silence. It begins in disruption. When your plans fall apart, when the people you count on go silent, when your inner compass starts spinning wildly. In those moments, you have two choices: resist the chaos or learn from it. Resistance looks like control, like grasping, pushing, forcing, like trying to make everything calm when the storm was never meant to be avoided. Because storms do not show up to destroy what is real. They come to clear what is false. False stories, false identities, false safety. When chaos erupts, what collapses is what was never stable to begin with. And what remains is truth That's why these 3 days feel unstable. Because something inside you has been built on distraction, and now it's time to rebuild on presence. The chaos is showing you where you're still reacting, where you lack structure, where you pretend things are okay when deep down they are not. The discomfort is not random, it's precise, it's targeted, it's showing you exactly what part of your life is ready to shift. But if you run from the chaos, if you numb it with scrolling, with food, with blame, you miss the lesson, you delay the transformation, you invite the storm to return again. And again, and again, until one day, you finally stop. You stop resisting. You stop running. You sit in the eye of the storm and ask, what are you here to teach me? And when you ask that, the storm softens. Not because it disappears, but because your fear does. Chaos loses its power when you stop fighting it. It becomes a sharpening stone, a forge, a teacher. So let the plans fall apart. Let the discomfort rise. Let the storm do its work. But you remain calm. You stay rooted. You return to the breath. Because breath is your anchor. Stillness is your shelter. Presence is your path. The 8th of August, 0 and 10 are not asking you to have control. They're asking you to have courage. The courage to let go of what no longer works. The courage to face what you've been avoiding. The courage to learn not just when it's peaceful, but especially when it's chaotic. Because chaos is not here to break you. It's here to break the illusion. And once the illusion is gone, you will see clearly, you will act cleanly, you will live freely. If you listen to the storm, you will hear the lesson. And once you learn it, you will no longer fear the next one. 5 number. In the middle of chaos, when the mind is loud and the heart is tired, you don't need more answers. You need the breath. You don't need to fix everything. You need to return to what is always within reach. Your breath is the first practice, the last refuge, the eternal guide. On the 8th of August, 0 and 10, the pressure will rise. The emotional noise will increase and your nervous system will be tempted to fight, to flee, or to freeze. That is exactly when you must remember the breath is your sword and your shield. It cuts through confusion. It defends your peace. It reminds the body you are safe now. But most people forget to breathe, not because they can't, but because they leave the body. They get pulled into thought. They try to solve the storm with strategy, but storms aren't solved. They're survived. And survival begins with breath. Inhale, presence. Exhale, release. Inhale the moment. Exhale the noise. Inhale, I am here. Exhale, I let go. This is not just poetic. It's physiological. Your breath regulates your nervous system. It lowers your stress hormones. It grounds your awareness. When you lose your breath, you lose yourself. So on these days, the 8th of August, 0 and 10, before you react, before you speak, before you move, breathe, feel the air moving in, feel the tension softening on the exhale, feel the body returning to center. This is where clarity lives, not in the mind's panic, but in the body's still rhythm. You will not find peace by thinking harder. You will not control the storm with logic. You will calm the storm by calming your own waters. And the breath is how you do it. It is your rhythm, when the world becomes erratic. It is your still point when the future feels uncertain. It is your presence when your past pulls you back. Every spiritual path returns to this. Every martial discipline begins with this. Breath is the foundation. Without it, strength becomes tension. Without it, focus becomes strain. Without it, growth becomes burnout. So return to the breath, not once, but again and again and again, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, because when you are able to breathe deeply, even in pain, even in confusion, even in fear, you prove to yourself that peace is not a place. Peace is a practice. And if you can hold the breath during these 3 days, if you can stay connected to your body while the storm surrounds you, you will not just survive the 8th of August. 0 and 10, you will emerge from them refined, not more perfect, but more present, not more in control, but more at peace. This is the quiet power that no one sees, but everyone feels. Return to it. It's always waiting. So are you. 5 number. You say you want to change. You say you're tired of repeating the same cycles. But when discomfort rises, you do what you've always done. You react. You escape. You collapse into the familiar. But the 8th of August, Joe and 10 do not accept that anymore. These 3 days were not designed for comfort. They are designed for pattern interruption, because you cannot build a new life on the same habits that created the old one. You cannot break free while clinging to what keeps you stuck. Every emotion that rises these days, every trigger, every conflict is not a punishment, it's a doorway. The pattern is presenting itself not to torment you, but to be broken. So look closely. What reaction do you always run to when things get hard? Do you go silent? Do you try to please? Do you attack? Do you numb out? That's not your personality. That's your coping. That's the armor you build around the wound. And now the armor is heavy. Now the wound is asking to breathe. The 8th of August, 0 and 10 are not about changing others. They're about confronting yourself with honesty, with compassion, with discipline. Because discipline is not just about routine, it's about how you respond when the old self shows up asking you to play small again. And it will, the moment you feel uncomfortable, the old voice will whisper, don't say anything. Just scroll, sleep it off. Tomorrow, but you've heard those whispers before. You followed them, and they led you back to pain. So now, a new choice. Not louder, not more aggressive, just clearer. Interrupt the pattern. When the urge to run comes, pause. When the habit to shut down appears, breathe. When the same thoughts circle again, watch them. Don't chase them. This is the training. This is the practice, not to be perfect, but to be present enough to choose differently. Every time you choose differently, even for one breath, you weaken the old pattern. You plan something new. You begin to rewire your mind, your nervous system, your future, and this is how change actually happens. Not in massive shifts, but in small refusals to repeat what no longer serves you. The 8th of August. Jew and 10 are your test. Not to prove yourself to others, but to prove to yourself that you are ready. ready to break free from the cycle, ready to walk away from the version of you that only survives, ready to meet the version that leads. And you don't lead by controlling everything. You lead by not collapsing into the past. That is how patterns break. That is how transformation begins. One moment, one breath, one brave decision at a time. 5 number. Stillness is not inaction. Stillness is power. Focused, held, directed inward, and on the 8th of August, Joe and 10 stillness will not come easily, because everything in you will want to react, to move, to speak, to respond. But reaction is not strength. Reaction is habit. Stillness is discipline. When you feel the emotional storm building, when others are projecting, blaming, collapsing, you will be tempted to join them, to match their chaos, to justify your noise. But those moments are not for reacting, they are for remembering. Remember, you trained for this, you prepared for this, not to win arguments, not to escape feeling, but to remain clear when the world becomes unclear. True discipline is not about perfection. It's about restraint. It's about holding your silence when your ego wants to speak. It's about staying still when your body wants to flee. It's about breathing when your past wants to take over. Stillness is not weakness. It is precision. It is the calm hand that pulls the arrow, not the shaking one that fires too soon. And just like the archer, you must hold your position before you release. You don't need to say everything. You don't need to fix everyone. You need to stay aligned with your breath, with your values, with your center, because when you stay still, you don't get pulled. You don't get lost. You don't repeat the old dance of reaction. Instead, you become the mirror, and in that mirror, others will see their own noise reflected back, and maybe, just maybe, they will remember their own silence too. So hold the line, hold your peace, and if you fall out of stillness, I'll return. That is the practice, the 8th of August. Joe and 10 will press you, but they will also reveal you, and if you remain still, you will hear what others miss. You will see what others overlook. You will rise without force, because stillness is the quiet edge of mastery. 5 number, you've been looking outward for signs, for answers, for something to save you. But the 8th of August, Joe and 10, they are not asking you to look outward. They are asking you to turn inward, because the storm is not outside. The pressure is not from the world. It is from within, and the way through is within. This is the lesson. It has always been. The chaos, the discomfort, the rising emotions, they are not distractions. They are invitations. They are pointing to the places in you that are asking to be seen, to be healed, to be reclaimed. You keep searching for peace as if it's somewhere else. But peace is not a destination. It is a practice, a presence, a remembering. The 8th of August, Joe and 10 will not reward noise. They will not honor avoidance. They will honor awareness, clarity, discipline, silence. So ask yourself, what have you been running from? What emotion keeps returning? What decision have you been delaying? And most of all, what would happen if you stopped running? Because the truth is this: you are not lost. You are not broken. You are simply unpracticed in the art of returning to yourself. So return now to breath, to stillness, to honesty. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to stop pretending. You just need to meet yourself fully, without excuses, without distractions. This is not about fixing. This is about facing, because what you face, you're free. And what you avoid, you become trapped by. These 3 days are not here to destroy you. They are here to remind you. Everything you need is already within you. Your strength, your clarity, your transformation. So close the search, return to the center, and walk forward not in fear, but in presence. Because the way out has always been in.